let's go ahead and look at the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is whenever you have a quadratic equation, this either says y equals or it says equals 0. But it's your standard form where you have A is a value, B is a value, and C is a value. That's going to be one of the first things you do whenever you get your problem. So you write down what A, B, and C are. Then you plug it into this formula. We're going to use Desmos, and we're going to plug this in. And what we're actually looking for is where the quadratic parabola meets the x-axis. So it's these two, or it could be 1, or it could be no times that it crosses the x-axis. So what's weird about this formula is we have this plus minus, but all that means is this is actually two equations. We're going to solve it twice, one with a plus, one with a minus. So go ahead and write what they are. So we're going to write x equals negative b plus, so I'm going to do my first one as a plus, square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And we're going to do the same exact thing, but with a minus instead of a plus right here. So I'm going to write the word and, underline it twice because we're going to have two solutions. X equals negative b minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So it's the exact same thing. The only difference is you have a plus here and a minus here. Those are the only differences. And if you were to simplify these, you could get the exact answer where you have a square root or where you have that radical. Or you could put it in the calculator and get an approximate, which is a decimal. And we're going to round to 2 decimal places today. All right, so I had y'all write the formula on your Post-its. We're going to use this Post-it instead of flipping back and forth to this. Just make sure you have the correct formula written down. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, open it up. We're going to do the first example. Okay, first thing we want to do is we want to identify A, B, and C. It's ax squared, bx, and c. So go ahead and write what A is. A is 9. B is negative 7. C is negative 4. All right, so we're going to plug this in. Go ahead and write it with the plus minus. So it's x equals, okay, negative b. B is a negative 7. So all that negative out front means is we're changing the sign. So negative b, negative 7 means it's a positive 7. Plus or minus square root of, okay, whenever we plug in and we do a b squared, we've got to put parentheses around it. So it's going to be negative 7 squared minus 4, because that's part of our formula, and then a and c. A is 9, so put parentheses in 9. C is negative 4. And go ahead and extend your radical, because mine wasn't long enough. Over 2a. So 2 times 9. Okay, so the formula kind of looks difficult, but it's not that difficult. It is, we are just plugging in A, B, and C into this formula and rewriting. So what we could do is we could simplify everything inside the radical and out here to make it a little bit easier to write if we wanted to. Or we could just rewrite this the same as one with plus, one with minus. Then we're going to use Desmos. So we are going to find the approximate answer today. So let's go ahead and we're going to write this twice. One with plus, one with minus. So x equals 7 plus square root of -7 squared minus 4 times 9 times -4. I'm just rewriting the same thing. I'm not doing anything different except for leaving off the minus. Make sure you have it written down. And then over 2 times 9. So the plus minus means we actually had two different answers. So the first one is with using the plus sign. So I'm going to write and, underline my and twice because there's going to be two answers. X equals 7 minus square root -7 squared minus 4 times 9 times a -4 over 2 times 9. Okay, so remember we're solving these, and a solution is whenever you are finding where it crosses the x-axis. So now we're going to use Desmos. So everybody open up Desmos. Make sure you have the correct Desmos open. It's the one that's green. It says testing. And we are going to start off with, let me open this up so you can see it. We are going to start off with what we were given, this. I'm going to put in 9x squared minus 7x minus 4. That's what was given to us, where it says equals 0. And what we're trying to find is where it crosses the x-axis. It's here and here. But we want to use the quadratic formula because we can graph it using Desmos, but we can also use this quadratic formula. We are going to type in this first one. We're going to type in x equals also. So do x equals. Because we're going to make sure this quadratic formula is correct and everything. Check it with our parabola. Make sure that's where it really crosses the x-axis. The way you get a fraction is look on your keyboard where the question mark is. Right below the question mark is the slash. So click the slash. And that's what gives you your fraction. So let's put in 7. I'm going to do the plus one first because I can't do plus minus. I have to just do plus. Square root, you got to click on the show keypad and click the square root. Drop beside pi. Close that. And then put everything in with parentheses and all.
Where did you do that?
Square root.
Yeah.
Click that. And you'll find it in there. minus 4 times 9 times negative 4 over 2 times 9. Oh, mistake. There we go. And whenever you finish putting in that last 9, the parentheses, it draws you a vertical line, and it actually goes through the x-axis and the parabola. If it doesn't go through the parabola, that means that you typed this in wrong. So make sure, if I accidentally don't put in a negative 4 right here, I don't even see it. Or let's say I put in a 5 there instead. See how it messed the whole thing up. Let me see if I can undo that. I don't think I can. Okay, so go ahead and put in the other one, the way you can duplicate that. Let me put this back in. 7 minus square root negative 7 squared minus 4 times 9 times negative 4 over 2 times 9. Okay. If you have the plus in there already, you know what you can actually do, a shortcut? Click this. Y'all look up here real quick. Everybody look. If I click this, did y'all see the little wheel settings? Duplicate, and then you can change the plus to a minus. That way you have them both there. So you should get them where they cross the same spot. Those are your x-intercepts, which are also called, remember, roots, zeros, x-intercept solution, rocks. This is all the same thing. So on our paper, on our notes, we're going to write each of those down. Oh, sorry. Let me make this go over here. No, I didn't really want to do that. It keeps on doing it. Okay, so we're going to write those down. There we go. That's what I want instead. Okay, so the plus was 1.16. So if you look over here at Desmos, it comes out to be 1.16. 1.16. So I'm going to write that in my notes. Then the other one came out to be negative 0.38. If it didn't go through the parabola and the x-axis, and that's your point of intersection, then you might have typed it in wrong. Okay, so our solution is 1.16 and negative 0.38. Remember, we have the little squiggly braces. The order of these doesn't matter, but I usually do the smaller one first, but I didn't this time. Okay, so let's go to the next example. Label A, B, and C. And write it. A is 2, B is 2, C is negative 12. So let's write it. X equals negative b. So it's going to be negative 2 plus or minus square root of b squared is 2. So it's going to be 2 squared minus 4 times 2 times c, negative 12. And then the radical, I need to extend that all over 2a. So 2 times 2. Now write it, one with plus, one with minus. So x equals negative 2 plus square root 2 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 12. All over 2a, 2 times 2. So that's the one with the plus. We need to do and. Do the one with the minus. Okay, go to Desmos now and go ahead and hit the refresh button so that it clears everything out and gives you brand new Desmos. You do want to make sure you have the green one. So if you had the black one, I reopened it, you need to bookmark it. The one that has the black on top is actually different. So you want to make sure you have the green one. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to hit the refresh button so it gives me a brand new one. We start with putting this in. So 2x squared plus 2x minus 12. And that should give you a parabola so that you see where it crosses the x-axis, which actually comes out to be whole numbers. Negative 3 and 2. Then go to the next line and do x equals. Do the little slash so it gives you a fraction. Negative 2 plus 2 squared. Nope. I forgot to do the radical. There we go. The radical is the square root. No, you can do it. Don't forget the square right there. An arrow again. Go ahead and do that 2x squared plus 2x minus 12 first. Then put in x equals. Sorry, you can't see it, but make sure you put in x equals on here. You can't see mine because it, there we go. Now you can see it, hopefully.
How do you know like what group you see on the bottom?
2a. So 2 times, do you see how a is 2?
Yeah.
2a. So that one actually, with the plus, it equals 2. Isn't that crazy how all of that, with the square root, with the squared, with the plus, with the fraction, it all equals a whole number 2. I'm going to show you tomorrow how that actually happens. Okay, and then to make it easy, you can click on the spinny wheel at the top, the settings, and then duplicate it. When you duplicate it, change the plus after the -2 to a minus. Duplicate it and change the plus to a minus. See if you get the same thing as me. I got -3. Okay, so what you want to make sure is whenever you put in these radicals, that it really is where that vertical line and the parabola meet. And it is. -3 and 2. Okay, so look at our notes. And we got the 2 answers. We got 2 and -3. So let's go ahead and write it. 2, -3. Or it could be -3, 2, because it's in those squiggly braces, which means it's a solution. It's not a coordinate pair. Okay, we have one more example we're going to do today, and that's example 3. Okay, so start with writing A, B, and C down. Okay, what's wrong with example 3, though? It doesn't say equals 0. So we've got to make it say equals 0. So really, all we're doing is moving this -x squared to the other side. So we're going to do plus x squared, which you can't actually combine it with anything. So we want it all on one side. So it's x squared plus 5x minus 2 equals 0. So once you do that, then you know what your A, B, and C are. What's A? If there's nothing in front, what's really in front? 1. What's B? 5. And C. Okay, now that we know A, B, and C, we can plug it into the formula. Okay, so x equals, we have a fraction, and it says -b. B is 5, so it'll be -5. Plus or minus, then square root, b squared, so that would be 5 squared, minus 4 times A times C. All over 2A. Okay, so now write it both the plus and the minus. So we're going to write x equals -5 plus square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -2 over 2 times 1. Do I really need to write 2 times 1? What is 2 times 1? 2. So if I want to kind of reduce it a little bit, I can. Okay, and then write and, because we're going to have 2. X equals -5 minus square root 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -2 over 2. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to put it in the Desmos. I'm going to hit refresh because that gets rid of everything. So I'm going to start with this. X squared plus 5x minus 2. That should give me a parabola. Then type in x equals, make your fraction. Go ahead and type in the first one, -5 plus square root 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -2 over 2. Okay, look at how it goes through the parabola and the x-axis. Look at the number. Look at this number and this number. They're the same thing. This is where it crosses. It's where it's intersecting. This is whenever you plug in that formula. So the first one is, go ahead and write it as 0.37. 0.37. I'm going to round to just 2 decimal places. So I wrote that on the first one. Now duplicate this and change the plus to a minus. See what it comes out to be. So we're going to go to 2 decimal places, so that's -5.37. Which, if you were to click this, see how it intersects at that point? So that's it. That's the solution. So our solution is -5.37, and the other solution is 0.37. Put your quadratic formula post-it on your notes so that you don't lose it. Look at where my notes are, or where my quadratic formula is. Just stick it right there so we can find it tomorrow. And we'll finish the notes tomorrow.